is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how I prove the floor is yours. 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 The floor, yeah, the floor is yours.
Man, that was kind of painful, wasn't it?
That was rough.
Hey, but we back, man. What you
Back.
say? No bad internet connection gonna form against us, man. So
That's right.
hey, everybody, we apologize. We are in the building now. We're gonna make sure we get y'all this good information. We'll make up for the late start, but we appreciate you if you stuck with us. We're gonna make sure that it's worth your while. So here it is. I am Gerard, Flex the producer. We're here for my first episode of Real Men Talk. But before we get into that, just a couple housekeeping rules. You know the game. Go ahead and like, share, follow us on all social media platforms. We're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. So if you would just go ahead and follow us and let everybody know to follow us too. We'll definitely appreciate that. But without further ado, we got a special guest here. I've been knowing Greg for probably about 12 to 15 years. Yeah, we go back way back from work days. So,
Yeah.
Greg, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself and let everybody know what's bringing you to Real Men Talk?
Well, hey, thanks a lot, Gerard, for allowing me to participate on your platform today. I don't take it for granted. I always take it as a privilege when someone invites me into their home and to meet their family and spend time with them. And that's what you're doing virtually today. So thank you, my friend. Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
go back. We go back. We ain't no strangers. We ain't new to this. We real to this. I am Gregory McKinney. I go by Gregory. Gerard's one of the few people that actually calls me Greg, but it's
Yeah,
Gregory.
yes, sir.
So, but I am a certified life coach. I've been life coaching now professionally for over a decade. Before that, I was the head of a marriage ministry at my church. That's how I got started with life coaching. And so I served at a church for 7 years where I was head of the marriage ministry. So I gave pastoral counseling to married couples and couples who were soon to be engaged and soon to be married. So engaged couples. And so after I left that church, people kept calling and wanted to spend some time with me and wanted to have some conversations about how to handle marriage, what to expect from marriage. And so it turned into a career for me because it's nothing more that I enjoy more than talking with people and kind of just shedding the light and helping people get clarity about different situations. And so what I do now is I do relationship counseling and I do individual counseling with people. But however, my niche now is helping men understand emotional intelligence. And so most of my work that I do now is talking with men and trying to help give them clarity around why they behave the way that they do, why they feel the way that they do, why they triggered the way that they're triggered, and then how to overcome those hurdles so they can show up and be the best leaders, husbands, and fathers that they can be for the people that are around them.
Yeah, and that's awesome, man. You know, the thing is that nobody on this thing understands everything. So
Right.
the more we can talk, the more we can collaborate, bounce ideas, and just be open and transparent. It makes us all better. So that's kind of the idea of Real Men Talk. You see the hashtag on there from Tamika. Appreciate you. That's RMT, but RMT Real Men Talk was created to give this safe space for men to talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about. Too many times, you look out on the internet and there's a plethora of resources out there for women. Understandably, that's not a bad thing. But if you go and look for organizations or platforms for men, that they're few and far between. So we just thought that we could come together, use
Absolutely.
our expertise, and do that. So what we want to talk about today is there are three myths that we want to talk about and add clarity to or dismantle, whichever way we're going to go with it. But the first one I want to talk about is one of my favorites, and it says that when a man is serious about you, nothing, not even you, can push him away. And while we set that question up, I'm gonna place it on the screen just so that the audience can see it too. But
Right.
you just let me know. Can you see that, Greg?
Yeah, I can
Come
see it.
on.
It's kind of small. I have to put on my glasses, but yeah,
There
okay,
it is.
there we go.
Yeah, there it
Gotcha.
is. So yeah, when a man is serious about you, nothing, not even you, can push him away. And you know, I'm one of the guys that used to subscribe to this. You're right. I'm like, you're right. I just got to go harder. You know, and not even a woman is going to keep me from her. And you know, sometimes there was some success, but it came with a lot of resentment, a lot of wounds, if you will. So I just want us to talk that one right there. And you know, first, I'm not going to assume that you disagree with it. So I'm going to ask you, you know, what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree or disagree with that one? And then tell me why.
I disagree. Let me tell you why. There's a couple of reasons why. And, we're only tackling 3 today, but there's, countless other myths about manhood and masculinity that we could debunk. But I think that may be true for either young men or insecure men. So a young man is still in his, proving himself stage. He's young and he's trying to prove that he's got it and he can get any woman that he wants. But as you mature, you become a lot more discriminating about who you want to spend your time with. And so as you become more secure in yourself and you get a little bit more mature, you realize that you don't always have to prove yourself. You shouldn't always have to chase a woman. Number one, the biggest reason why I wouldn't advise a man to chase a woman is because it makes you look desperate. So there's a difference between chasing and pursuing. There's a little bit of a wordplay there, but chasing means you are seeking after something that's trying to get away from you. If I got to chase you, that means you're in a position where you're trying to get away from me. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Pursuing means, hey, I'm gonna state my interest, I'm gonna present my best foot forward, and then we can see where we go from there. Yes, I agree that a man should pursue a woman, but chase, no. And
Yeah.
so the whole ideal around if a man really wants you, there's nothing that you can do to stop him. I think a mature man can be stopped because when
Yeah.
he starts seeing that you're not compatible with him, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting my time. Not at
Yeah.
this age and stage in life. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real, man. I appreciate that input. And the one thing that I was focusing on is when she says, not even you. And that's why focus is. It's like, yeah, most men, and you know, so let me go back and say, when we're talking about real men talk, we're not suggesting that there are men that aren't real. We're talking about real as in like, hey, it's a we all are real men, and that we should be communicating. So when I say real, I'm talking about more about the mature man. So let's probably posit that into the discussion that we're talking about mature men, and that you can run a mature man off. So
You
yeah, yeah. So, but when she say not even you, most men that mature, they'll be more willing. They're even willing to deal with some external, you know, forces. You know, it might be some medical issues. It might be some jobs
kids.
or finances, kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're willing to take that on if we're, you know, ready to take you on as a mate.
Yeah.
But I think for me, and I think you're saying the same thing, that she can run you off if she's doing some of the things you're saying, like being difficult, playing hard to get, right?
Yeah. And I think that the danger you get into with that is that when you put a woman on a pedestal by chasing her, she has no other way but to look down on you. So if you put a woman on a pedestal, then she has no other way of looking at you but looking down on you.
Looking down. Yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
so that's another reason why you shouldn't chase a woman because we're looking for an equality here. We're looking for a partner here. If you treat a woman like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan.
yeah. That's good. That's
Right.
good.
And
Yeah,
so we don't want that. We are looking for someone that says, hey, you go up to a woman who you think is attractive or interesting, you say, look, I'm interested in you. And then you two see how you two can better each other, which is the purpose of a relationship, to
that's
make
good.
each other better. And so so the whole thing, if man really wants you, there's nothing you can do to stop him. I think a bad attitude
Yeah.
can stop them.
So let's talk
There's
about that. So what's the deal with the bad attitude? Because I see on social media a lot that people say that I don't have a bad attitude. I'm just real. And I need a man. If you're going to be with me, you need to learn how to deal with me, how to handle my mouth, because, they're really boasting about having a fly mouth. And again, I'm talking about a mature man. To your point you made earlier, a man with low self-esteem or someone who don't understand the dynamics of relationship may tolerate that. But again, from a mature man, that fly mouth, what do you got to say about that?
be careful of a woman who says, you just got to take me for me. That woman is saying that I'm not willing to change, I'm not willing to compromise, and I'm not willing to grow. Is there a certain level of reality that we have to be aware of that, hey, none of us are 22 anymore? We probably got a few extra pounds in some places that we don't want, those type of things. That's a reality. But we need someone who is gracious and who is willing to be able to be partnering, compromising. I always tell people, hey, be yourself, right? But be your best self. And
Yes,
so when a woman says to you, hey, take me like I am, she's saying, I'm not going to be my best self with you.
man.
I'm
That's
willing to give you the scraps.
Man, I don't want to miss that, because you saying be yourself, but be your best self. Like that changes everything about it, right? So,
Yeah,
I'm coming into this. I'm not going to expect you. I shouldn't expect her to take everything about me, and likewise. So,
right.
when you add that word, be your best self, that means like I am constantly trying to improve the person that I am, right?
Right. I'm working out, I'm reading, I'm trying to learn more, be more attentive to your needs. I'm always trying to
Yeah,
better myself, one
yeah,
up,
yeah,
So on year two, I should be a better husband than I was on year one. I should be better on year three. I should be better on year four. I should
yeah.
just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. So we got a couple comments I want to highlight them. Anthony Bill from
Yep.
Friday Days too. He
What's
said
up,
great explanation.
Anthony?
Yeah, he said great explanation when you were talking about the whole pursue, don't chase, and Tamika was agreeing in agreement with you on that. She also said had a question. Would that be all women or immature women? And I'll let you address that question right there.
Yeah, yeah. An immature woman will scare a mature man off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I
run him off.
think,
I ain't gonna say scared. I'll say you'll run me off. I ain't scared. I just ain't dealing with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And here's the deal, ladies, the ladies that are watching, here's a real truth. A real man will challenge you. A real man will challenge you because when you meet a real man, he's gonna want his life to be in order. He's not gonna come with drama. He's gonna want the same for you. So when you try to play those little tricks with him and he's not having it, you're gonna lose him because a good man's gonna challenge you to be a good woman.
Yeah.
And a lot of women say they want a good man, but then I wonder, are you prepared for what that good man brings to the table?
Come
He's
on.
not gonna play childish games with you.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
he'll leave before he
Yeah,
plays games.
absolutely. Which goes back to what we're saying, that yeah, you can make that man leave. So Tiffany
Yeah,
Morris, appreciate the comment tip. She says that if you treat a woman like a celebrity, she would treat you like a fan. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Old fanboy. That's a good perspective right there. And
Right. And a celebrity never wants to really make a connection with a fan. They appreciate their fans, but
yeah,
they're never in a real relationship with their fans.
yeah. And then she said that woman is not ready for a relationship. She might in her mind be ready, but her makeup, her maturity, and what she brings is not going to be conducive to good order and discipline in a high functioning relationship. So,
Yeah, yeah.
mm,
Wanting something and being ready for something are two
yeah,
different things. Yeah.
yeah. So here's one that I wrote up too: juggling multiple men. And and I brought that up because I saw also on social media this idea that hey, they telling women to date and date and date until you settle in on which one shows up and ready to commit to you. And what do you say about that? I don't know. You might promote that, but what do you think about a woman that's juggling multiple men until she figures out which one that she wants to settle down with.
Yeah, yeah. You're just inviting drama in your life when you're dating multiple men at the same time. Here's my deal. I think it's fair when you're single to go out there and explore and see and find out what it is you actually like. I
Mhm.
say date with integrity. I'm not telling you how many men to date, but just make sure you're dating with integrity. And that means that you can look yourself in the mirror and still respect that person that you're looking back at, and that you're not misleading other men to think that there is something more to this relationship than there is.
Yeah.
So if you want to, date different men or a variety of men, go do it. Have fun. You can do that, but just make sure you're doing it with integrity.
Yeah, and with integrity. And then what are you based off the topic? This mature man that because when men want when they want what they want, they go after it, or at least they make a play after it. What
Yeah.
would you tell her how that man could potentially look at her when he knows that she's out there entertaining, juggling multiple men?
Yeah, we're going to dive into this a little bit later, but here's
Okay.
the truth about men. Men want to feel special too, right? So if you're dating me, then I find out that you're casually dating, three other guys, I don't feel special anymore. And so I'm not going to stick around for someone who doesn't make me feel special.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
out.
we talked
And
about this a couple months ago, and I used to say that it was saying it in jest, but there was a little bit of truth to it too. I said she for the streets, man. If she out there, juggling multiple men, and I say this with the understanding of what you're saying, that if she's dating, do it with integrity. I'm not saying like, hey, put all your eggs in one
eggs,
basket and hope that it was, because I get it, trying to make sure, like, you know what, I'm not ready. But again, if you're not, and this guy is, based off the topic in the conversation, he's probably not going to stick around.
yeah, you're leading them on. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're leading them on. And when a man gets his heart broken, is he either self-destructs or he becomes a dog. And so
yeah,
a lot of times women complain about there's not a lot of quality men out there. Well, it's because they mess with a lot of unqualified women at the same time. Now, I don't judge women by their dating history. I
yeah.
don't even judge women by their body count.
Right,
That's
right.
that's life. I don't hold that as a scarlet letter or a demerit. That was your life. That's what you did. But I do care about um, how many men did you hurt along the way intentionally. How many men cared about you and you just ghosted them? How many men did you just call up because Ricky's the one that gives me I call him when I want a free meal, you know, or Steve's the one I call when I need to pay my light bill. That
Yeah,
bothers me.
yeah, yeah. So I got this comment right here, and I'll read it because I don't know if you can read them. But Tamika says some men just fall in love fast, which is true,
This is
or
true.
infatuation. Let's call it for that. But how should she deal with the man that falls head over heels for her, but she's not there yet? Man, that's a great question. Want me to read that again, or do you have it?
That is a great question.
Yeah. She says
I
some
got it.
men.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You
You
want to
you
address that?
you have to be careful with him. You have to be careful. This is your time to really show how much of a quality woman you are.
Yeah,
Treat him the way you would want another woman to treat your son. If you find out that he's caring for you more than you care for him, you should tell him, I'm not where you're at. We need to slow down. Let's pump the brakes. Hey, you're a nice guy, but I just don't think we're on the same page with this
yeah,
relationship right now. So
yeah,
let's just take it slow. That's an opportunity for a woman to step up and to really be a woman, to show and prove, I don't want to break his heart. So let me be honest.
yeah. And be
I
honest, and
have
would you
Go
agree
ahead.
too to go ahead and start setting those parameters and boundaries, because she could be potentially interested in him, but to your point, he may be moving faster than her. So if she's slowing down, it's like, hey, let's date for a while and maybe revisit this in a month and see if we're ready to progress more. And I say that because this sounds dangerously close to love bombing. And when you're in the mental health space, people that love bomb can love bomb you for a reason. They're trying to overwhelm you with what looks good so that you can't see the bad that they know that they possess. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think that women, when they find that a man is moving too fast, they oftentimes equate that to him being soft, and that he's not, a strong man, because a strong man doesn't fall in love easily.
Yeah,
But a man who's in touch with his feelings like that, I think is a rare find. And so, but you still have to be careful with them at the
yeah,
same time. Treat him like you would want another woman to treat your son.
yeah. Tiffany said, "Can you touch on the subject as women age? They are of less value." Kevin
Mm.
Samuel way of type of thinking. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know it's not on the topic that we're on right now, but we'll take a minute to address this real quick, and then we'll go
Yeah.
back to the next one. Yeah. What
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah. Oh wow, that is Kevin Samuels. I got my whole little deal with Kevin, but Kevin Samuels' viewpoint is that when women get older, they lose a lot of value because they got more miles on them than the young girls do, right? Um, I don't think the same way. I think opposite. I think that the older a woman gets, if she is investing in herself, that means spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, having good experiences and traveling, she becomes more and more valuable the older she gets, because hopefully she's obtaining wisdom and she's obtaining maturity. And when you find that, and you bring that into your world, let me tell you, the best thing a man can have in his life besides God is a good woman.
Yeah,
And so if you find yourself a good woman who's 35, 40, 45, or 50, and has taken the time to care for herself and nurture herself, I think that a woman who is mindful of taking care of herself becomes more valuable the older she gets.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So I think we can segue into the next topic, and we're talking about this myth that men are not emotional. And just to start it off, I gotta let's hit this question from Tamika because it kind of deals with emotions. So I'll read it and then we can go into the discussion or the
Okay.
myth that men are not emotional. So Tamika says, "Can we talk about the double standard? You say when men are mistreated, they become destructive as a dog. But is it okay if he does that? Seems like that's putting a lot of pressure on only on the woman to be good and giving guys an excuse. So I think a man that's destructive like that is proof that we do have emotions. So while we if you want to address that first, or do you want to set up, the whole
Yeah.
idea about
Yeah.
men?
Yeah. 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 And just to clarify, what I intended to say, I misspoke, was when a man has a broken heart, he will become self-destructive, or he will become a dog.
Mm,
When a man has a broken heart, he will either one or two things. He will either become self-destructive, he's going to start drinking and create all these bad habits, or he's going to become a dog and try to hurt women the way that he has hurt. Now, that happens to men who don't do the work to heal. The men that don't go to therapy, the men that don't go to church, the men that don't get into Bible study, the men that don't pray, the men that don't seek help. That are two of the ways most men turn out usually. Is
yeah,
that pressure on a woman? I think that women are the catalyst for it, but we can't necessarily blame them, right? Because it is his life. Now, his reasons, the reason why he responded that way is because he felt feelings. He is emotional. He wasn't taught how to deal with those emotions. And so he goes to the extreme with those emotions because those emotions are confusing to him. It's not a woman's fault that a man becomes a dog. It's not a woman's fault that a man becomes self destructive. But a woman reveals to that man where he hasn't healed yet.
yeah.
That pain reveals where there is a wound. And women oftentimes are the catalyst for finding out where a man isn't healed or where he's hurting.
Yeah. So sound like what you're saying, this myth, or the idea that men are not emotional is a myth, not a fact, right?
Yeah, it is definitely a myth, and it's a dangerous one too,
So
because
why do you say it's dangerous?
I think it's dangerous because you don't want to assume that you could just treat any human being, male, female, young or old, any kind of way and be reckless and not consider that it's going to take an emotional toll on them. You
Yeah,
know, all oftentimes as men, we go through life and our expectation that society has told us is that we just got to figure it out. You can't pay a bill, figure it out. You know, the car is broken, figure it out. That's the response we always get in life. We don't get, hey, like women do sometimes, not all the time. Hey, I can help you with that, or I got a guide kind of thing. We don't get a lot of people supporting us. Oftentimes it's just figure it out. So it's dangerous. I say it's dangerous because when a person is lost or confused or sad, men cover it up, right? And so you don't know what ticking time bomb you are dealing with,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it is dangerous to think men don't have feelings because you don't know if your interaction could be the final straw,
yeah. That's good.
right?
That's good. And not excusing any bad behavior or anything, but it's just being conscious of what could possibly be. So let's talk about why that myth is out there. And there's the old book where it says men are from Mars and women are from Venus. We're different, but that doesn't mean that we don't have emotions. The emotions are there. I think that it's just tend to be how we show them are different. So especially when you're dealing with an emotionally mature man. Of course, if you get an emotionally immature man, he can be destructive and all the bad things that come with that. But if he's an emotionally mature man, the emotions are there, right?
Always.
Yeah, yeah,
Always, always. They're always there. An emotionally mature man knows what to do when he hits his wall, when he feels overloaded. And it happens to us all. When it's too much to take, he knows, do I go to prayer? Do I have do I have my inner circle of male guys I can talk to? Do I have, an exercise routine? Most mature men know where to go when they feel overloaded. Um, the fact that men don't have emotions, I think, became a myth because we want our men to be strong. When you think about manhood and masculinity, one of the first adjectives you think of is strength, and we have to get away from thinking that knowing how you're feeling is not strength, and saying, look, I'm overwhelmed, I feel anxious, I feel depressed, I feel sad, I feel overlooked, I feel underappreciated. That's not a sign of weakness. That is vulnerability. But vulnerability is a teacher. Vulnerability, when you share it, tells other people how to manage you. So if you said to me, if I said to you, hey, Gerard, I really hate when you call me Greg. You in turn, I'm being vulnerable with you. Like, that hurts my feelings. I'm being
mhm,
vulnerable with you. And then you in turn can say, hey, you're my friend. Now I know you're teaching me now how to relate to you. So thank you, Gregory. And now no longer will I call you Greg because you were vulnerable with me. So
yeah,
vulnerability is a teacher.
yeah,
And so and I think that men should be okay with that.
yeah,
Unfortunately we aren't.
yeah. And it's one of those things that while on the surface it may seem weak or a sign of weakness, I know, and just in my growth, that it takes strength to be encouraged, to be open and vulnerable to someone and share some of your I don't know, vulnerabilities, I guess is the word to
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The truth also, to add to that, the myth that men don't have emotions is because society doesn't not want men to have emotions. And that is, society looks down upon a man that isn't aggressive, that isn't assertive. And so if you're not showing that you can take a licking and keep on ticking, then you're somehow less than. And so a man doesn't want to admit he has emotions when he does, only because he doesn't want to look less than a man. And
Yeah,
so that
that's true.
myth
You
actually
talk about
comes.
the jobs and the promotions and all that come with it. There are men that display, at least on the surface, on the outer, strength and hardness and sternness, right?
Right. Yeah. But on
Yeah,
the inside, a little boys, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And then also you do want to be careful of over assertive men because all they know is the win. All they know is there's a trophy. I got to get the biggest office. I got to get the shiniest car, and I got to wear the best clothes. And that's all they know. They know nothing about real connection. They know nothing
I
about a
agree.
real relationship. And so, but we
Yeah,
applaud those men that have the shiniest toys, but
yeah,
we don't applaud enough the men that are actually taking care of their kids and loving their wife and in their community and serving in church.
yeah.
You know,
What I learned too is a lot of those men they can be very transactional, when they're looking for the win,
yeah,
the prize. So it's like I do this now, I got to be rewarded this way. So yeah, and it's rarely that anything they do is just out of the genuine goodness of their heart. They're doing it for the prize. So one other thing before we jump off, go ahead. You was gonna say something.
one of the things I like to share with women is that if you're in a relationship with a man, you should care about his emotions. And so one of the things I advise women to do is to get their man alone in a dimly lit room, like not a whole lot of light, but like maybe just one lamp is on, and just say, "How are you doing, babe?" And let him talk, and just let him and just allow him to get it out, because men do have emotions, but we oftentimes don't feel safe expressing it. And so if you're in a relationship with a man, get him alone and allow him to share. And don't ever speak about it again to anybody else, not your sister, not your mom, not your cousin, because there's no greater offense to a man than when he has shared his heart to you and he feels like you shared it with everybody else.
And just to add to that, if you create that safe space or what should be a safe space for him to open up and communicate, also one of the worst things to do is to critique him while he's doing that. Like get defensive, even if he's being open and telling you he's feeling that way because something that you did. She gets
Right.
defensive, and I'm not saying that she shouldn't feel some kind of way with it, but she gets defensive and start, telling them that that's not true or making, excuses for that
Yeah.
behavior. So when you're saying when you're creating that safe space and you're asking, should they prepare themselves to hear everything? I mean, how do you handle that situation when it gets kind of tough?
Yeah, yeah, that is a tough part. I'm glad you brought that out because a lot of times there is, misconceptions, right? We all get misunderstood. And I hear a lot of wives and girlfriends say, well, you misunderstood me because what I was really trying to say was, or if you was really listening, you would have heard that I said. And so listen for his truth,
Yeah.
right? And try to leave your ego at the door and say, this is my man's truth. In
Yeah.
that moment when I criticized how he was cooking, I didn't mean it, but it hurt. And I don't want to come back with I was just joking. I didn't mean anything by it. Go, okay. That
Are
is
you
his
defensive?
truth. Right. Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
so another part too, and when it comes to emotions, we talked about this when we were in Vegas, how important faith is to your emotional maturity. And I
Hmm.
talked to a couple guys, and I noticed in my story, like when my faith was little or weak, I
Hmm.
panicked when things didn't go my way. I would literally prepare myself how I'm going to go in and have this conversation, and when it kind of goes off the rails, I panic and I don't know how to respond. So I guess what I'm saying is when you're going in these situations, you're having these tough conversations, whether it's at work, whether it's at home with your mate, you got to have, I guess, a plan B, and part of or C, and I think B should be faith. Like, okay, it didn't go like I thought, but God, I know your ways are right, and this is for the believers, it's not for, you know, everybody, but I know that when I didn't have faith, I panicked when things didn't go my way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. In the book Wild at Heart, the author's last name is Eldridge. He writes that every man needs three things in life, and
Mhm.
that is a source, a mission, and a woman. And he words it different. I think he doesn't say a woman, he says a damsel in distress. But when he says a source, every man needs something that's bigger than him, that he believes in, that when he gets up out of the morning and says that this is the reason why I get up, because there's something bigger, more important than me. And the mission is your role in making that thing happen. And then of course a damsel in distress, or a woman to fight for. But I don't know how people make it through life without faith, because faith gives you perspective. Faith gives you a reason why. Faith gives you hope that everything's going to turn out okay. Faith gives you the belief that we're not out here just randomly running into these situations. Um, I think that without faith, you're destined to break. There has to be something that's bigger than you that you believe in, or you'll just see your life as just trivial.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of comments, so y'all keep the comments coming. We're gonna get to a few of them. And Greg, I know there's a challenge on your end with reading them, so I'll read them. I'm not the best reader.
Now I can read. Don't be telling people I can't read. I can read.
Hey, that came out right. Hey, you know what? Just off topic. So we got another event coming up called "She Said He Heard," and what you just reminded me is that part. Someone could say something, and the person heard it totally different. So shameless plug for an upcoming event. She said he heard. But you're right, man. You're a great reader, man. So hey, different
I got some technical issues over here on my side, but I can read.
So let's go to some of these comments right here. Tamika was agreeing with you earlier. She said you better speak Gregory. Yeah, pronounced it all right. Two mics up. Appreciate the homie Dame for tuning in. Dame says must have a positive circle of mentally mature men to lean on. Take a moment to talk about that, if you will.
You are the company that you keep. The Bible tells us that bad character corrupts good character. And so you become the totality of the 5 closest people that you speak to. You see a lot of college students, their first year in school who did great in high school, but they go off to college and they wind up dropping out, or grades start slipping. And it's not because they don't have the potential. It's because they don't have a solid tribe around them. The people that you consider opinions to be valuable are greatly impactful in your life. There was a study done on billionaires, I think about 3 years ago, by Forbes, and there was 2 characteristics of billionaires that they found across the board. Every single billionaire had this, and number 1 was grit, just a stubbornness. I ain't giving up until I get to my, just an unwavering, relentless pursuit. So that was number 1. But number 2, what they discovered that every billionaire had in their life was at least one person to say, I believe in you. You can do it. And that was the second most important factor in them becoming billionaires. Number 1 was grit, but number 2 was having someone in their life to believe in them. That was the second biggest factor of people becoming successful. And so if you don't have a solid tribe around you, then you're just tossing back and forth. You need someone that's not only positive, but also corrective. There should be someone in your life that you trust enough that when they say stop, when they say be quiet, when they say shut up, when they say sit down, you listen. You have to give permission to somebody in your life to correct you, or else you're going to just find yourself going off the deep end.
That person needs to be capable. It's not just anybody. Yeah,
it needs to be qualified. It needs to be qualified.
Yeah, let's put it
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So Ivory says strength is communicating. I absolutely agree with that, but let you take a moment to elaborate on that if you want to.
Strength is communicating. You mentioned the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. We all communicate differently. I think we put this is me. You may not agree. I think we put too much emphasis on communicating and not enough emphasis on understanding. Right? Yeah. And so I could talk. I love to talk, as you can tell, all day long. But if you're not understanding my heart or where I'm coming from, then it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
So We want to learn effective communication. We want to learn our partner's language and how they interpret words and the tone and the speed of, some people are very bullet point people. They're like, hey, just give me the facts, A, B, C, and D. There are some people like, well, tell me how you felt in that moment. What, how does your partner communicate? How are they best understood? I meet some people, and I'm one of those people that when I talk, I like to paint a picture, I like to tell you a story. But there are some people out there like, Gregory, shut up. I just want to know, you know, how long it's going to take you to get home.
Yeah,
Like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, what? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Ron, he said facts. The safe space is very important. Yeah. And you have to be so intentional. I was talking to a good friend the other day about intentionality. And sometimes we come up with these ideas and that's where they stay. Or we go try to execute them without, considering, that there is order in implementing some of these things, especially when emotions and passions are high. So you just can't run out there and thinking like, hey, haha, I heard Greg. Now I'm about to go and fix everything that I'm challenged with. It takes work and being intentional with the way you move forward with stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Even when I do the coaching that I do, I tell people when we start off, I say, number one, this is not going to be a quick fix. For coaching to be effective, you're going to have to be with me for at least 4 months, at least 4 months, to create positive habits. And then number two, as a coach, if you think about it in the gym, I'm going to tell you to do 20 push-ups, but you are going to have to do the 20 push-ups. I'm going to give you the plan. I'm going to give you the clarity. I'm going to give you the tools, but you're going to have to one. You're going to be able to be the one who have to get that sweat equity in. You're going to have to
Mhm.
be the one to do the work.
Yeah. So here's comment from Dane. He says, and y'all out there tune in to Two Mics Up. He got a lot of good content on this platform too. But Dane says, I believe you have to be open and honest with yourself. Things may not always go your way. Man, that's good. How you respond is key. Reflect on the situation and take ownership of your role and how you can learn to become better moving forward. That whole ownership piece is so important because I think some people, most people, we're biased towards self. So if we're in a conflict or a challenging situation, it ain't me. It's the person that I'm in the conflict with. And sometimes that might be true, but we still have responsibility, right? And how we respond, even if the other person is in error.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think the worst person you can lie to is yourself, because when you do that, you're preventing growth. You are stopping your potential by
Mhm.
telling yourself you're okay when you're not.
When you're not.
You know, maybe you're sad when when you wish you were happy, or maybe you didn't put in all the work that you should. You're expecting results for work you didn't do. Are you
Mm.
honest with yourself? And to stop pointing fingers at what mom did or dad did and say, you know what? They might have impacted my journey, but now I'm responsible. I can't. I got to stop blaming other people and take accountability for my whole life. When you
Yeah.
lie to yourself, you stop your potential.
Yeah. And I think the easy thing to do is to blame other folks because it makes it like I'm not that bad if I get to put the blame on someone else. So you're right. Owning it, taking responsibility and accountability for yourself is the way to move forward. So
Yeah,
Mika
and
was asking for clarity. She said, Gerard, was that faith for yourself or faith in the relationship working without stress after you had the conversation?
mm,
I'm talking about faith in what Greg said, a power that's stronger, greater, more capable than me. And for most people, it's the God we serve or the religion that we in. So um, for me, that faith transcends, and I've talked about this before. It transcends my fears. It transcends any emotions that I might have. It's not that those fears and emotions aren't there, but my faith in the righteous ways of God are greater than my fears and whatnot. So I hope that answered your question, Tamika. Yeah, it was a faith in something greater than self. Um,
good.
what else
I did like that
do
thought
we
that
have?
faith relationship.
I know what I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
want
just
to
clarity
be.
about Ivory. Yeah, earlier she talked about the communication part, just she's a military background, so she went through the whole. So what she's saying absolutely is what you're saying about the whole effective communication, which absolutely includes listening as well. What's that old saying that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice, twice as much as we talk. It's hard, but it works.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely, I totally agree.
yeah. Oh man, this is powerful right here. She said it only takes one person to believe in you. Um, when you're yoking up with that one person that inspires you and that encourages you, and we're talking about relationships. Um, a man is better, a better man. You're what's that old saying? I quote some stuff a lot. Behind every successful man is a strong woman,
Yeah.
and she can do more with encouraging words than tearing them down and belittling him. So
Hmm. Hmm. And I don't think women understand the power that they have in their encouragement. It just fuels us so much. Men repeat behavior that is rewarded. So, ladies, here's a cheat sheet for you. Here's a hack. If you want your man to do better, compliment him on the things you want him to do more. Like if he takes out the trash, be like, babe, I ain't never seen a man take out the trash like you take out the trash. Ain't no other man look as good as you look when you take out the trash. Men repeat behavior that's rewarded. And so those encouraging words, I tell you, they help us get through the day. They really do.
yeah,
They
and
are
hopefully,
food for our soul.
yeah, hopefully you got something to encourage him on more than taking out the trash too. So
Right.
highlight him
Right.
what he got going on.
But
Y'all got
sometimes you just
to
gotta work with what you got.
You're
Sometimes you
right,
just
brother.
gotta work with what
Yeah. Tamika said you must be disciplined to do the work. Absolutely. I saw this post. It says that I need to be disciplined because sometimes I'm not motivated. And man, that resonated with me well. I know some days I wake up and I just don't feel it. It ain't in me. But being disciplined will make me go ahead and get up, pull out that laptop, get to typing and, whatever, so I can accomplish the goals or the tasks that are in front of me. So,
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Some
Yeah.
more shout outs, Mr. Gregory sharing the game tonight. And one more before we move to the next topic from Dame. He said, don't tell my wife that, Gregory. My wife understands the premise. She gets the most out of me.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. So
Encourage.
you want to sum up this whole idea that men are not emotional?
I think that men are just as emotional as women, but we haven't been given the opportunity to explore it as much, our emotions as much as women. And so we sometimes are emotionally handicapped because society tells us that that is something that is weak. And so we do have the emotions. And so I think when you're in a relationship, as you relate to your men, realize he's feeling the depth of the emotions the way you are, but he doesn't have the same experience with those emotions like you do. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you're going to have to walk him through and give him words. When I counsel men, sometimes they'll just say, gee, I'm pissed off. Okay, what are you pissed off about? He said, it's just like, and this, and it's just letting out. Like, okay, use your words. And so
Yeah.
oftentimes you have to fill in those gaps with them, and that's okay. Okay, sweetheart, is it work? Is it the kids? Is it money? Is it your health? And kind of go step by step with them because we don't have the same amount of experience you do.
Yeah. And on the other side too, trying to word this the right way. Even with mature men that do show their emotions, they show them in a more healthy way, in a healthier way. So the regulation of their emotions is on point. It's not that you're unhinged. So the men do show them, and I'll give an example. If they got to make a decision that's for the good of the family, you know, they don't take emotions out of the equation when they're deciding what to do. I think it's quite the contrary. They're considering emotions. What if this child or the wife is passionate about it? That may make him say yes or put provisions in so that he can say yes and then make that decision work for everybody, right? So it's not that mature men they show emotions and it's just showing them in a healthy way, in a way that considers all parties that are involved in that decision.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. A man takes it as a source of pride when he sacrifices for his family.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, man. That's good, man. So this is good. I know we started late, so we're gonna kind of wrap this up right now. And what we want to do is give you, Gregory, a moment to tell people how to connect with you, and also I'm gonna ask you to come back so we can finish up and do part two of this discussion. So
Absolutely. I look forward to it. Hey, listen, you can reach me on all social media with my name, Gregory McKinney, Instagram, Facebook. That's all I got, really. Instagram and Facebook. So just type it in, Gregory McKinney. Look for the light skinned dude with the salt and pepper hair. And that's me. I also wanted to take a time to mention that I just recently developed a course for men. It's called Courageous Men. It's an 8-week course, and it walks men through emotional intelligence. It teaches men how to find clarity, how to find connection, and then also how to be the leaders that they want to be. And so, if you are a man, you know a man that you think could benefit from diving deep into emotional intelligence, like what is emotional intelligence, and then how does that impact me, and how can that help me build stronger connections with the people that I love and I care for and that I lead. Then I have the course for you. It's called Courageous Men. It has done, I mean, wonderful work with other men in the past, and I'm taking the principles that I use in my practice, and I'm just kind of putting them into a package, and so you can just get the good stuff. We get straight to the good stuff, and then you can blossom as a man in your relationship and all that you do. So hit me up, Facebook, Gregory McKinney, Instagram, Gregory Inspires, actually, but I think if you type Gregory McKinney, you can still find me, but Gregory Inspires is my handle on Instagram, and I would love to talk to you guys.
yeah, that's good, man. So we're gonna make sure we give you an additional space, some additional space to put the information out because we need it. We need it, and appreciate you being accessible. I know you're a busy man. Appreciate you sharing this wisdom, throwing the hook out there. And I just encourage the men to reach out to him. We can keep on listening to podcasts and reading books, but until we actually do the work, and that's why I like the product that you're offering. It allows us to actually put a plan in place and do the work so that we can become better people. So,
And before I go, I want to give you your flowers too, Gerard. For those of you who are watching, if you don't know Gerard personally, he is who he is here. He is the same way off camera, the way he is on camera. He is a man of integrity, and he's just a good, solid dude. So, hey, thank you for inviting me. And I knew that if you was attached to it, I knew it was going to be something quality and worthwhile. So, hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
oh man, the pleasure was mine and the audience as well. So, got another question from Tamika. She said, "Do you have a link for your course?"
Oh, I do not. I do not. Thank you for that. I'm creating a landing page, so I'm gonna create the website for it, and I'll be sure to get that to you. To anyone that wants to know, just hit me up, send me a DM, and
Yeah,
I'll get that to you.
yeah. All right, man. This was fun, man. We had some minor hiccups, but what I said in the beginning is having all these technical difficulties, you have to be bringing some smoke, man, some good stuff. So you definitely did that. It's always a pleasure. I had the pleasure of being on one of your platforms before. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't know this, but you got a background in radio. And did you
I
share
do.
that earlier?
I do, man. Back in the day, I was trying to be, the next Michael Basin, Tom Joyner. I was trying to rock the mic. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
when I was in my 20s, I worked at a local radio station here in Dallas, and it was some of the best times. I ended up actually producing the Sunday morning gospel shows that you heard on here in Dallas 105.7. If you're in Dallas, so back in the day, I'm telling my age, used to have gospel on Sundays all day,
yeah.
and they kind of they cut it off now at 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's 10 o'clock now. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but I used to be the dude that made sure you got your gospel every Sunday. So I did that and hosted the show, and it was a great time. It was a great time. I love it, and so getting an opportunity, I may be back on the mic again. You never know, but.
Yeah, that's what we said. We need to bring it back. So, hey, we appreciate you. Thank you, audience, for always engaging us. You know, the floor is yours was named what it was because we want to make sure we give people a voice so they can share their concerns and engage us. You know, and we'll figure this thing out together. So, you know, the routine: like, share, you know, the show so that other people can find us, and go and follow us on Instagram, IG, YouTube, and again, tell people about us. You know, the information is only as good as the ability to reach the people. So it help us, if you will, to accomplish that. So other than that, we're going to close us out. You said you'll come back for part 2. People are asking for part 2 in the audience. We'll commit to doing that. So just follow the page for more information on part 2, because we do have another discussion on this whole idea that we prefer respect over love. And yeah, that's going to be a good one. So yeah, so be ready for that one right there. And until then, I'm going to play the outro, and then we'll see y'all here for part 2.
Now it's my turn to tell y'all about my big bro Gerard and the podcast crew. From TJ the realist, Miss Cookie the professor, and you can't forget about the inspiration shit. They talk about it all, got advice for us all. You'll never know how deep the talks will go. On the weekdays, the weekends, they be going live with the topics. Then they do the segment where the floor is yours. You can post your comments, you can post your statements, yeah. You can ask your questions, They can help you get your life moving in the right direction. If you need advice on marriage, advice on finance, advice on healing, advice on credit, this the podcast that you need to check out. Go ahead and tune in. You'll feel what I'm talking about.
Baby, don't forget the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean the floor is yours. Baby, come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how blue the floor is yours. Hey, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Nah, 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 nah. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Nah, 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 nah. The floor is yours.
That's my jam right there, Gregory. Man, I appreciate you, brother. We'll see you back here in the next week or two.
Anytime, my brother. You take care. God bless.